Santiago Ortiz and I go to present the relevant events of 12th century. This century was known as the High Middle Ages. Several aspects happened in this century as from trade, war, politics, and religion. In 1111, High Henry V goes to Rome for the Pope to crown him emperor. In this year, 1115, Bernardo de Claraval launched this Cistercian revolution. It is the order we have in our days. In the trade, there was a social class, the bourgeois is the social class that was outside the feudal pyramids. They did not serve anyone, were already merchandise with the bourgeois. Appeared the guilds, that is that different members of artisans and traders came together, finding themselves in the same place, helping the economic development of the city, developing banking, and the first wages for workers emerged, and these first wages emerged for the workers. In the agriculture, there was important changes in which the tools development, this is plowing and frontal yoke. With its development and increase what was obtained and production in which the economic was improved. Rogelio II, in 1113, was crowned king of Sicily. In the middle of the century, the Turkish took over the Turks in the year 1144, in which the second cross was given, which ended in 1148. In 1179, in Treaty of Casola was signed between the kings Alfonso II of Aragon and Alfonso VIII of Castile. In 1188, Jerusalem fell to magnified Saladin and the result the Third Crusade that lasted until 1192, what the Saladin kept in the city under his power. The Christian kingdom sought to recover the Holy Land of the Muslims. The leader of the recross are Philip II, August of France, Frederick I, Barbarossa of Germany, and Richard de Leon here of England. In the absence of Richard as King of England, his brother John without heir was the only one who took control to region. Richard de Leon here defeats Saladin at the Battle of Arsul. In 1192, the Treaty of Rambla between Richard and Saladin was signed, but Jerusalem still belonged to Muslims but couldn't access Christian. Thank you for your attention.
The Crusades were a series of military expeditions organized by the Knights of Western Christianity under the leadership of the Holy See to drive Muslims out of the holy places. First Crusade, from 1096 to 1099. The Pope Gregory VII supported the need of a crusade in order to protect the Byzantine Empire from the invasion of Turkey, since they were applying violence against the Christian kingdoms of East and to pilgrims going to Jerusalem. In 1095, Pope Urban II called a crusade to conquer the Holy Land at the Council of Clermont, France, under the motto "God's Wants." Peter the Hermit started the Crusade of the Poor, but it was a failure because they were not militarily organized. In 1096, great lords of France, Flanders, and Germany left for Constantinople. Among them were Raymond of Toulouse, Godfrey of Boulogne, and Bohemond of Taranto. They fought in Syria and triumphed in Antioch, Edessa, and conquered Jerusalem in 1099. They advanced to North Africa and established a Christian state there, Tripoli. Second Crusade, from 1145 to 1149. Thanks to the division of the Muslim states, the Latin states established themselves. The first two kings of Jerusalem, Baldwin I of Egypt and Baldwin II, extended the kingdom to all the land between the Mediterranean and the Jordan. The Franks were overconfident and the Muslims began to unify to conquer the Christian kingdoms. Senji, governor of Mosul, and Adepo in 1144 conquered Edessa, putting an end to the first of the Frankish states. In response, Pope Eugene III called the Second Crusade. Christian kings such as Louis VII of France, the Germanic Emperor Conrad III participated. They decided to attack Damascus, independent state and ally of the King of Jerusalem, instead of attacking Nur al-Din, son of Senji. This was a mistake that caused Damascus fall into the hands of Nur al-Din. Third Crusade, from 1189 to 1192. The interference of the Kingdom of Jerusalem in the Fatimid Caliphate of Egypt made Nur al-Din put Saladin in charge of the situation. When Nur al-Din dies, Saladin proclaims himself Sultan of Egypt and of Syria, and the Ayyubi dynasty begins. Saladin decides to expel Crusaders from the Holy Land in 1187, defeats them in the Hastings battle and takes Jerusalem. In response, Pope Gregory VIII called for the Third Crusade, which was led by Frederick I, Emperor of Germany, Philip Augustus, King of France, and Richard I, Lionheart, King of England. The English and French armies took the city of Acre. Richard Lionheart defeats Saladin in the Battle of Arsuf, and his crusaders take the city of Jaffa in 1192. Only Richard Lionheart reached Jerusalem, and peace came when a pact was signed between Saladin and him, by which Saladin allows Christian pilgrims to pass to the Holy City, but Jerusalem remains under the Muslim control.
The popular culture practically did not exist, and it is illiteracy. The manifestations were reduced to the performance of the minstrels who recited epic songs, romances, and simple songs during the previous century. The cultural center was in the hands of the Arabs. From now on it will be among Christians. The Latin translations of Arabic works, which in turn had been translated from Greek and Latin, began in Toledo. The predominant literary trend is the jugular master, and the literary works were already written in Romance. The most important of this century being the Cantar del Cid, also sometimes called Poem of Mio Cid, and the beginning of the representation of the Magi. In the 12th century, religion was the axis on which the most important events in the Europe revolved. The second
For conclusion, this century was known as the High Middle Ages. Various aspects occurred in this century, such as commerce, politics, and religion. In 1187, Jerusalem fell to the magnificent Saladin as a result of the First Crusade, the latest until 1182. It was when Saladin kept the city under his power. The Christian kingdom sought to recover the Holy Land from the Muslims. Richard the Lionheart defeated Saladin in the Battle of Arsuf in 1182. The Bamla Treaty was signed between Richard and Saladin, but Jerusalem still belonged to the Muslims. During the previous century, the cultural center was in the hands of Arabs. From now on, it will be among Christians. The predominant literary trend is the jugal master, and the literacy works were already written. In Romance, the most important of this century being the Cantar del Mio Cid, also called Poem of Mio Cid, and the beginning of the representation of the Magi. In the 12th century, religion was the axis on which the most important events in Europe. First Crusade. Pope Gregory VII supported the need for a crusade to protect the Byzantine Empire from invasion by Turkey, as they were analyzing a violence against the Eastern Christian kingdoms and against the pilgrims going to Jerusalem. In In 1095, Pope Urban II called a crusade to conquer the Holy Land at the Conclave of Clermont, France, under the motto God Wants. Second Crusade, 1145 to 1149. Thanks to the division of the Muslims states, the Latin states were established. The first two kings of Jerusalem, Baldwin I of Egypt and Baldwin II, extended the kingdom to all the land between the Mediterranean and the Jordan. The Franks were overconfident, and the Muslims began to unite to conquer the Christian kingdoms. The Zengi governor of Mosul and Aleppo in 1144 conquered Edessa, ending the first of the Frankish states. In response, Pope Humphrey called for the Second Crusade. Christian kings such as Louis VII of France, the Germanic Emperor Conrad III participated. The inheritance of the Kingdom of Jerusalem in the Fatimid Caliphate of Egypt caused Nur al-Din to put Saladin in charge of the situation. When Nur al-Din dies, Saladin proclaims himself Sultan of Egypt and Syria, and the Ivy dynasty begins. In response, Pope Gregory called the First Crusade, that was led by Frederick I, Philip August, and Richard the Lionheart. Thanks for attending us.